Hi friends, today I want to share with you 3 secrets to winning when life keeps knocking you down. No matter who you are, no matter what your circumstances, there will be days where life is just too hard. You won't know how to deal with it. Today I offer you a free money-back guarantee on the 3 secrets to winning in life, and may God bless you as you hear these. I tell you, this week for me has been a pretty tough one. Just in my circle, I've been dealing with the lady who lost her grandchild and had to carry the coffin with her son, who was 6-month-old. Our friends have had a house fire and got taken from the home, and thankfully nobody got hurt, but very distressing. We've had an aunt call and she's had a bleed on the brain and she's been taken to hospital and probably needing surgery. And we've heard the news of a dear child, only 11 years old, who took her own life because of the fear of what might come in the future. Life is full of trouble, friends. If it hasn't hit you yet, it soon will. And I want to share with you things that have helped me, and I hope that as you read them, God will bless you too. One is recognize today's enemy. Today's enemy is probably not who you think it is. What is today's enemy, or who is it? Quite often I see people fighting their fights on Facebook or putting it out there for others to know all about their problems. And today we need to look at the enemy. It may be that the enemy is within. We've been our own worst enemy. It may be that there are people, but we have to understand that sometimes behind that people problem, there is a devil problem. And is it a problem that you've made? And if it is it a problem that you can fix? Because you can't fix them all. If it's a problem that you've made, maybe you keep getting sacked from your job. Maybe you just didn't show up. Maybe you didn't put in the hours. Maybe it's just a circumstance that something's happened and it's worked against you. And you can't fix it. And you just got no say in it. But it is important to understand what the problem is and to be honest with yourself if you are part of the problem. Or is it a person that's working against you? Sometimes there are big family arguments and things like that, and one person gets a blame. But we're taught in Scripture that when it is a problem with people, we shouldn't just look at the people. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in high places. There is an enemy against us, and he's been against us since before we were born, and he will be against us until we're dead. So get ready for the battle. If you haven't recognized it, some of your battles are not with people. Some of the battles you have within, they may even have a spiritual context as well. And you need to know that we can call upon a God who's stronger, who is able to see us through every one of those battles. My number 2 lesson is that it won't last. What's the worst that could happen? Well, the person may be very sick, and so the question is, what's the worst that could happen? Well, she might get even worse and have to go to hospital. Yes, and then what will happen? Well, she might get really worse and be in intensive care. Oh, and then what will happen? Well, then, she might pass away. And then what would happen? Well, I guess they'd go to heaven. This problem, whatever it is, today's problem won't last. Just as today's blessings don't last unless they're found in God. So you may be going through things that are really difficult. And you might be thinking, you don't understand. You don't know how bad it is. I can tell you this. Whatever it is, it won't last. It doesn't have any power to last. And things change. And people change. In Hebrews chapter 12 reminds us that when we are going through tough times, that we can focus our eyes and look ahead to Jesus It tells us in Hebrews 12, lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily entangles us. Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. It's your race. It is set before us. There are things coming, and there's going to be some steep hills. There's going to be some rough terrain. But when we are looking to Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, we've got to remember this about him. For the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross. What have you been going through? Well, it's not the cross, that's for sure. And what did he see when he looked at the cross? Oh, he saw the suffering, don't doubt that. But he saw the joy that was set before him. Something good was going to come. Some great, wonderful thing would come through this most horrible and tragic thing that he had to suffer with, the cross of Calvary. So he saw beyond the problem, even the problem of death that he faced. And he understood that this won't last because death could not hold him. And you and I, friends, are told and reminded that we are to throw off the weight. And some of that's our own silly fault. And some of that weight that we are to throw off is actually just the burden of worrying about it. Does that make sense? And some of it is the sin which so easily entangles us. Throw it off. You can't run well like that. It won't last. And remember that Jesus prayed in the garden, "Oh my Father, if this cup cannot pass away from me unless I drink it, your will be done." There is a race for you to run, and there may be a cup for you to drink. It may be that there's no way around the trouble and the circumstances that you're going through. You just have to keep going. And it won't last. And you can say, "Well, Father, I trust you through it. Your will be done. And I'm going to keep going with you regardless." And the third point in this short message is this, that we can wait. And here is actually a really difficult one for many of us. Be still and know that I am God. Why would that be difficult? Because we want to fix things ourselves. Because we don't want to wait. Because we don't want to go through the hardship and the suffering. And that makes sense. But we're told, instructed, even commanded, be still. How many times I wish I'd taken my own advice on that one. Be still. And we don't just have to be still and ignore a problem or not get on with our life, but we have a stillness in God. Be still and know that I am God. He's with us. He's in the situation. He's able to see us through it. He is waiting for us also on the other side, and we do not need to fear what today or tomorrow might bring. We can wait. And we are also told in Romans 8:28 that there is a purpose. Things are working out. We know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. I don't suggest you go and put that in someone's face when they're in the middle of their grief. But you as a believer, you have a purpose in the suffering. You have a purpose in the hardship. You have a purpose even in the blessing. And the hardship may be really bad. But let me tell you, friends, God is really good. And he's working everything together, things you can't see, things you can't understand or know. It's all in a part of a big plan, and it's all going to work out because we love God and we have his purposes in our life, and he's taken us from point A to point B to heaven, and there's no bad news in that. So today, just remember to recognize today's enemy. Don't think of it just as people. It may be things you have led yourself into. It may be a sin and temptation that's caused this. It won't last. Whatever it is, it's all temporary. Wait on the Lord. He can see you through. And here is your bonus round. Here is your superpower, as they say. But wait, there's more. Those who wait on the Lord will find new strength. He promised new strength. Won't you just ask him for that? Wait, trust him, and he's promised to give it to you. So you can get up and go again. And whenever life knocks you down, remember that God is there with you. And he will pick you up and he will see you through. May God bless you.